morning, good morning. Well, here we are again on another bright and sunny day here in West London. So today we are off to have a very exciting time with the gardeners. Yes, the gardeners are due in to the Sloane Square job and they're going to be removing the ivy. This is my plan for the day. I did visit the house yesterday, everything is looking good. Lots of things to show you on that. Quite a few bits going on actually when I think about it, to do with the rebuilding of the walls. These are the walls behind the chimney breast to make the walls lovely and flat, so we can plaster them and paper them to our heart's delight. So that's what we've got in store for you today. Let's get going with this rather beautiful sunny day. So here we are at the house. Now the ivy is the ivy which is on the wall behind me. So that's what's going to be going shortly today when the gardeners turn up. So they're going to have to make their way from the front of the house, come back through this basement, through this rather uneven floor, and take the ivy off and then go next door and sort the neighbour's property out as well. That's what we have in store today.
And here is that ivy, quite a mop of it. Stretching across this wall and into the neighbours.
Builders working up above on the upper floors, which I'll come to shortly in a moment. You can hear them above. It's always quite funny coming to these sorts of properties at this time, because once they've been taking all the walls down and the ceilings and the floors and everything else, not only does a house open up considerably, but it means that you can hear every little thing. And you do feel as if sometimes they're actually literally second above you, and joists are going to be falling down and everything else. It can actually be quite intimidating for the untrained. Behind me here we see what remains of, it's not really the fireplace, it's actually the fireplace wall. So that's obviously where the fireplace was. All the rubble is down here very nicely, and we have a gap which you may or may not just be able to see right there, just going all the way along. And they put a strut in place so we don't fall down it if we're on the upper floors above. So let's go and see what else has been happening on the upper floors.
So on the ground floor, the chimney breast is fully blocked in. We'll put some concrete over the top of that, but you can see down there into the lower ground, and obviously going over here, this is obviously where the main living room we're going to be. So both chimney breasts are out, thankfully all bricked up, and then the builders are moving up to the top of the house all the way up there, and these are the old joists. Now the wisteria, this is what's got to go. So as you can see, it's quite a lot just draping here over this flat roof and blocking quite a bit of light. Moving on upstairs, obviously the scaffolding has moved up, so the builders obviously just move up as they do, moving up from the ground floor up. Usually they work from the top down, but this obviously makes more sense if you're bricking something up. So the builders sort of work in conjunction. So they have these scaffolding poles. Hi there. And they just move them up as they just move up the house, but it's quite unusual to see a house like this. It's quite strange to see it, but you can see the props here, parts of the scaffolding, and the builders move up and then create a new platform for themselves to work on as they complete the building work. Hey there. He's actually a carpenter, funnily enough, but he's also a very good brickie, which is handy. So it's very messy work, building 101 with the cement coming up here. The guys just bringing the cement up in the bucket. They get through quite a lot of it. There's stacks of it downstairs. It's all good in this cement mixer just here.
Ostensibly on these visits, I'm very much here to oversee what's going on, answer any questions, and of course to gather my own thoughts and plans for the rest of the house. So as well as the gardening being done today and saying hello to the madcap builders upstairs, I am actually putting together the electrical plan. The electrical plan is something which is going to have to be done fairly soon, because once they start putting walls back in, etc., then they're going to want to know where all the wiring is going to go, just in some kind of preparation, just to price it up and get all the materials that they're going to need. So that is my next plan of action. It can be quite difficult, notably if you haven't got the walls in where you want the walls in and you're trying to work out the space. You're looking at the ceiling thinking, how many lights do I need? But you get to know that in time. It all comes with experience.
And here are the gardeners, just chipping away as they can with this huge amount of ivy here that's going into these large white sacks to be taken away.
So, hilarity of the day is, as we were chopping down the ivy, there appears to be a pigeon nesting in there. Now, it's actually a male pigeon, because apparently, I had to Google this, they actually take over from nesting, they do the day shift. So we've named the pigeon Percival for some inexplicable reason. And he's obviously getting a little bit feisty if we're getting anywhere near him. So what we're going to do is trying to cut round where his nest is against the wall and take off as much of the ivy as we can and see how we go. The difficulty is going to be removing the trellis. So that's going to be a bit of a problem because we think that possibly the trellis is holding up part of the nest. Let's see what happens.
So Percival is right up there, so he's right against the wall there, so we have to be very careful. Most of this ivy, as you can see here, has come away, which is looking a lot better, but we want to take the trellis off, but we'll only be able to do part of that. Lovely Greg going up there to sort out the remnants up there. And this is what it looks like afterwards. Still a lot of work to do, but looking a lot better. Cutting away the ivy so that it doesn't grow again. I don't know why people put ivy in gardens. And this is the wisteria. That's also being heavily pruned. Hurrah. Now, this is a really interesting one for you to see. So you can see, obviously, we've got a little bit of dampness here. We've actually been spraying the walls. This happens a lot when you're dealing with brickwork. There is so much dust. You actually spray round, just around this edge, and you can see where the brickwork here is between the windows. And that will actually dampen down the dust so the builders can breathe, which is a shocker. Hey! So they actually just sort of like spray around the bricks, they sort of spray on the floor literally just to almost solidify the dust which is there. So very messy, but it makes it a lot easier. You can obviously see the water here up the plaster, but it's a really good thing to do. Doesn't damage the brickwork. And basically keeps everything on the qui-vive.
So that's another day done at the house. So we're all sorted. The gardener's gone, the builders are just packing up as it's the end of the day, and I'm going off for a well-earned drink. I'll see you next time.